Hi, I'm Carmen, and this is a miscellaneous vegan where I share a little R&R recipes and reviews. And today we're going to be making this garlic tofu. So you, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you like and subscribe for recipes and reviews in New York City and around the world, and for Coaching Mondays. You're going to want to start with extra firm tofu. And the best thing for you to do is to rinse your tofu. So again, I am Dominican, so I know nothing about tofu. And once I became vegan, I started finding these recipes online. So this is not my recipe. I will leave the recipe creator below. Okay, so this is how I quickly made this recipe. In addition, it's a combination of two recipes. So I'll leave both videos below. So you rinse your tofu. And then you're going to take your time and try to cut it into equal squares, equal cubes per se. I guess that's the best way to fry your tofu if you're going to fry it. But in this recipe, we're not going to be frying the tofu. We are going to be air frying it. But if you prefer your food fried, then go ahead and fry it. It will come out much more crunchier. And maybe give it like that a different flavor because you're deep frying it. You know, deep fried foods always taste great. But for me, I rather bake it. So here we have the cubes, and then they recommend to boil the tofu to remove the excess water. And I just put in a teaspoon of salt into the water. And the science behind it is that once you boil the tofu, it will extract the salt in the water, will extract the water that's in the tofu. Okay. So here you see I am placing my tofu. The water is hot. And then once you have all your tofu in the pot, you're going to want to set a timer so that you will not forget that you are boiling this tofu. Because if you do not set your timer, your water will overflow and then you'll have a big mess, just the way I did the first time I did this particular recipe. So here we are with a big old mess. But anywho, you're gonna want to drain your tofu, and I like to have running cold water when I do this. So just so that I can keep the sturdiness of the stainless steel. That's the main reason. But once you have drained your tofu, you're going to want to place it into a pot or someplace with paper towel or kitchen towels. But I have paper towel. So you're going to want to damp it, more so tap it with more paper towels and dry up the excess water. Because you just want to get all the water out, because that's how you're going to get your tofu extra crunchy. And then once you have completed that, you want to season the tofu, right? So I would honestly recommend for you to season this like the night before, or maybe let it marinate for a couple of hours. But that is a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of soy sauce that I just added. And then roasted sesame seed oil. I only put maybe like a teaspoon, because that the toasted sesame oil has a lot of flavor. It's very strong. And then like a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And that's it. Those are the ingredients you will use to season your tofu. And then you're going to mix it in very well, toss it a little bit. And like I said, you're going to want to marinate it overnight maybe, or just a couple of hours. But I did not. I only let it marinate as I was preparing the cornstarch. And that is how we get our tofu nice and crunchy when we are going to put it in the air fryer. So here I have my Our Place bowl, and I'm placing some cornstarch. And if you haven't seen that review, that unboxing and review of the Our Place bowls, I will leave that link below. And then I also season my cornstarch. In the video that you'll see below of this recipe, they do not season their cornstarch, but I prefer to season my cornstarch. Kind of like when you're frying chicken, quote unquote, you season the flour. Well, some people do. I do that for my son and my boyfriend. But here I'm doing my tofu and I'm seasoning my cornstarch. I just put a little bit of garlic powder and black pepper, and that was it. Okay, so then you're gonna toss in your tofu that is well seasoned, and you're just gonna. I just tossed the entire block of tofu. I didn't do it in batches. I honestly didn't want to, because it's just like I felt like it was not necessary, and it's more so that it takes more time when you do it in batches. I just wanted to put everything there, and I just tossed it until it was fully coated, just like this. And that's how it should look once it's completely coated with cornstarch. Then you're going to want to get your pan, your air fryer pan or whatever. I greased mine. And again, this is the Our Place air fryer pan, okay? Then you want to place your tofu, give it enough space so that it can cook evenly, okay? And I did have to cook this in 2 batches, as you see. And then I poured a little bit of avocado oil over it so that I can like toast up some more. And while that's finishing up in the air fryer, you're going to want to go and make your sauce. And here is where I'm going to let the video play live, because to make the sauce takes some, time. So you just want to make sure you mince your garlic and then get your 1 tablespoon of plant-based butter. And then follow what I do here. The recipe for this garlic sauce is butter, brown sugar, soy sauce, and maple syrup and water. So just follow me along on this video as I make this sauce so that it can turn out perfectly. And it's going to be so delicious, I promise. So I'm going to let you guys watch as I complete this sauce. And then towards the end of the video, see that after the sauce is completed, you just add your tofu. By the time the sauce is done, the rest of your tofu will be completed. So I know I said I was going to be quiet, but I wanted to share the amount of each ingredient I'm adding. And as you can see, I just added the brown sugar, and that's about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And I'm showing you that I really didn't use the measuring spoon, but that's what I'm using. It's supposed to be 1 to 2 tablespoons, and that's what it seems like I added. So just add 2 tablespoons. It really doesn't matter. It was 1 or 2. And then I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And here is the agave. So agave, you want to add about 3 tablespoons of agave. So it seems like it's going to be really sweet, but it's not, because of the garlic and the soy sauce. So it's kind of a salt and sweet, savory type dish. But again, you do not have to add as much as I did. If you don't really like your sauce to be too sweet, then minimize the amount. And also with the garlic, I added more than the recipe called. The recipe called for only 2 to 3 cloves, and I added about 5 to 6. But that's up to you. This is how I like the sauce. This is how I found it to be really delicious, and I've made this recipe several times. And here I'm adding half of 1/4 cup of water, because the recipe calls for 1/4 cup, but I only use half of that, because it takes a while for the sauce to reduce when you add the 1/4 cup, and that is the reason I didn't use the entire 1/4 cup. But this is how I like my sauce. It came out really great, like I mentioned before. And you want to keep stirring it until it reduces, because remember, you have sugar, you have agave. You can also use maple syrup if you do not have agave. But the sauce comes out really delicious. And just keep stirring as you see, as I'm doing. Okay, do as I'm doing on this video so that your recipe can come out exactly how I'm telling you, and it's going to be delicious. You want to taste your sauce, of course, before you add your tofu, because then you can adjust it. If you want to add more water, maybe it's a little too sweet for you. Maybe if you want to add more garlic, at this point, I don't know, maybe you could add garlic powder. I'm not sure, but just make it the way that I'm making it, and you're going to be happy. I promise. And at this point, I'm just stirring it until it reduces, until it gets a little thicker. And I will continue stirring. And then once the sauce is ready, I'm going to add my tofu, because my tofu is about ready, I'm sure. My Our Place air fryer Wonder Oven will let me know, because it like beeps a little. It doesn't really beep. So if you have an air fryer Wonder Oven, just comment down below and let me know how you like it. And here you can see that I'm adding my tofu. You can see in the video that it's crunchy. I promise you, the tofu is crunchy. You can eat it as is and with a little dipping sauce, but I prefer to coat my tofu with this garlic sauce. And this is about done, right? So you just coat it. You make sure that every single piece of tofu is completely coated in that delicious garlic sauce. And I promise you, you're going to love this. This is going to be a staple in your house, because it really is, for me, a staple, something that I make almost every week. And I'm going to be making it this week again because it's so good. And there you have it, guys, your garlic tofu with white rice. If you don't know how to make white rice, I will be making a video soon. And always remember, guys, be real, not perfect. Bye.